Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Deacon and Hope's next big story is leaked by Kanan. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Kanan gave away the next plot point involving Deacon and Hope Logan by posting an intriguing social media clue. The well-known B&B singer gave a fantastic hint to pique fans' interest in the upcoming content. Despite Deacon's recent lack of airtime, that is going to alter significantly. Regarding Deacon and some eagerly anticipated character exchanges, Kanan himself says there's a lot to look forward to. Viewers are wondering when Hope will reunite with Deacon on TV because she hasn't spent much time with her father in recent months. As it happens, Hope and Deacon are working on some exciting projects. One fan on X, the original name for Twitter, questioned whether we would ever see Kanan and Annika Noel together again. Kanan's response to this X user's observation that Hope needs her dad more than ever was intriguing. Kanan acknowledged that there will be many Hope and Deacon scenes in the future, saying, "A ton of them. I filmed 3 shows this week and 7 last week. You simply wait." Naturally, we must ask why Hope would be communicating with Deacon so much after essentially ignoring him for months. When heartbreak strikes deeply, it's likely that Hope will turn to Deacon. Hope can find solace in Deacon if she and Carter Walton are preparing for a romantic breakup. This is particularly relevant if Hope loses her line permanently as a result of Carter signing power back to the Forresters. By the end of it all, Hope might find herself barred from the Forrester building once more. Hope might feel as though she has no one to turn to if she accuses Brooke Logan of influencing Carter and possibly witnesses her mother getting back together with Ridge. At that point, Hope might receive some assistance from Daddy Deacon. When Hope is at her lowest, even Sheila Sharp may have the chance to connect with her. That's an intriguing alternative to consider if that's the case, as it would rekindle Sheila's wish to encourage Hope and John Finnegan to get together. In any event, Kanan has promised a ton of scenes with Hope and Deacon, so stay tuned for our speculations on what these two will be up to. According to teasers on The Bold and the Beautiful, Hope will eventually have to make some life upgrades and cope with some difficult news. What is Hope going to do next? At Forrester Creations, Hope Logan is feeling isolated. The dynamics of the business were drastically altered when Carter Walton deceitfully persuaded Ridge and Steffi Forrester to sign the LLC's authority over to him. After most of the family left in protest, Carter and Hope took over the business. At best, those who kept their jobs felt conflicted, and it now appears that Carter's own guilt is causing the international luxury company he had envisioned to fail. It was Brooke who helped Carter discover his conscience. When Carter offered her the CEO post, Brooke Logan accepted with the goal of remaining in his ear. Ridge has been told by Brooke that quitting his position was never meant to be a betrayal but rather a means of persuading Carter to act morally. Brooke and Carter have spent a lot of time talking about remorse, highlighting how this coup has cost them both Ridge. The two men had a heartfelt embrace after acknowledging that they have missed their friendship more than anything else, suggesting that it has finally worked. Hope at last understands that she is the only one having a celebration. Seeing Hope's incapacity to read the room at Ivy's jewelry launch was nearly agonizing. First of all, despite the launch being a success, nobody was truly celebrating, and second, Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, wasn't even there on the big day. As Hope ran around gloating over their win, Carter, Brooke, Steffi, and everyone else were visibly conflicted. Feeling like a traitor, Carter finally told Hope the truth and recommended that this success be their way to end things on a high note. Hope finds it difficult to comprehend his suggestion that they apologize for their dishonesty. Hope burst out in shock upon discovering that they aren't even on the same page, much less in the same book. This time, Brooke is not endorsing Hope. Hope hurried to the design office to speak with her mother after failing to persuade Carter to change his mind, but Brooke didn't offer much assistance. Brooke has no trouble telling Hope that he is not on her side in this infrequent occurrence. She informs her that Carter is also missing his closest buddy and that taking the company was never acceptable. When Brooke questions why Carter spends every holiday with the Forresters and doesn't talk about his family, Hope tries to downplay the influence of Ridge on Carter's life but is unsuccessful. Oddly, given that she has been declaring her love for him for months, Hope is unsure of the response. When Hope comes to speak with Carter after receiving little encouragement from Brooke, she discovers him in a bare embrace with Ridge. She thought she could prevent him from interacting with Ridge, and now it's obvious that she was right in the face of it. The only person who genuinely thinks that taking over the business was a smart move is Hope. What do you think she'll do next? On what appeared to be a routine afternoon at Forrester Creations, Hope's panic broke out like a violent storm as the weight of 1,000 unsaid secrets and unexpected betrayals weighed down on her, leaving her reeling in a state of overwhelming anxiety and disbelief that threatened to shatter the carefully constructed facade she had maintained for so long. In that moment, every little detail of her life, the meticulously planned strategy meetings, the delicate balance of alliances, and even the subtle whispers of loyalty that had once given her a sense of purpose, seemed to collapse into chaos, as if the very foundation of her existence were being undermined by an unrelenting wave of uncertainty and dread. Hope's mind was filled with conflicting emotions, including fear, anger, and a deep sense of betrayal that left her breathless and shaking. It all started when a series of inexplicable events, each more perplexing than the last, came together to reveal vulnerabilities that she had worked so hard to hide. The news of a shocking scandal involving important players in the Forrester empire spread like wildfire through social media feeds and quiet hallways alike. Hope was sitting motionless in her ergonomic chair in the sterile glow of her penthouse office, surrounded by the trappings of success that now felt more like prison bars than symbols of accomplishment. Her eyes were wide with panic as the reality of her situation set in, and she could feel her heart pounding erratically, a constant reminder of how fragile trust is in a world where every handshake could conceal a secret agenda and every smile could conceal a lie. The vivid vitality that had once characterized her had given way to a crippling fear that permeated every strand of her being, and while she fought to keep her trembling hands steady and comprehend the enormity of the situation that was developing, her mind raced to piece together the disparate hints that now made up a horrifying tapestry of deceit and manipulation. She remembered the times when she had put all of her trust in those around her, thinking that loyalty and honesty were the cornerstones of the Forrester legacy, only to be faced with the harsh reality that nothing was as it seemed and that the foundations of her meticulously curated world were built on shifting sands. Every piece of evidence and every whispered rumor that had reached her ears seemed to drag her deeper and deeper into a maze of uncertainty, where the boundaries between friend and foe blurred into a hazy, unrecognizable smear of betrayal. Hope's thoughts turned into a frantic whirlpool of what-ifs and why-me's as the minutes seemed to drag on forever. She began to doubt every choice she had ever made, every alliance she had ever formed, and the very character she had developed as a result of her unrelenting quest for stability and power. The calm rhythm of her everyday life was abruptly broken by a clamor of uncertainties and anxieties. What if the scandal wasn't an isolated incident but rather a sign of a much more serious decay that threatened to consume the entire Forrester empire? What if the individuals she trusted the most were also the ones who planned her demise? Worst of all, what if her own aspirations and strategic moves had unintentionally created the conditions for this unfolding disaster? Each question exacerbated the panic that had already set in, hammering away in her head like an unrelenting drumbeat. Within her, time had slowed to a torturous crawl, with each second stretching into an agonizing eternity filled with the sharp sting of impending doom and the bitter taste of regret. Outside, the world continued to move on with a disconcerting normalcy, the hum of traffic, the chatter of colleagues in the hallway, the soft rustle of papers in the boardroom. Hope was unable to tell the difference between reality and the paralyzing visions of a future that might never materialize because her panic was not a brief period of tension but rather a full-blown crisis, a mental and emotional siege that left her reeling. As recollections of past disappointments and broken promises clashed in a confusing flashback that left her gasping for air, she could just feel the cold fingers of betrayal clutching her heart and squeezing with a power that threatened to destroy her spirit. Once a haven of achievement, the opulent office now felt like a chilly, restricting dungeon, its walls resonating with the ghosts of every mistake and betrayal that had dotted her turbulent path. As she sat there on the edge of despair, Hope understood that the chaos all around her was not merely an outward sign, rather, It was an outward expression of the internal struggle that had been simmering for years, a quiet battle between her need for control and the growing awareness that some forces were just out of her control. She tried desperately to calm herself by concentrating on the physical details around her, such as the soft glow of the city lights coming in through the windows, the faint hum of the air conditioner, and the steady tick of the antique clock on the wall, but even these familiar sights and sounds were insufficient to calm her. They were merely a backdrop to the storm of panic that raged inside of her. Hope reached for her phone in a desperate attempt to find clarity amid the chaos, scrolling through messages and notifications. However, each update seemed to confirm her worst fears, with each piece of digital evidence adding another layer to the ever-increasing mosaic of uncertainty. She was overwhelmed by the constant onslaught of information, and she could feel the cool, collected demeanor she had built up over the years crumbling beneath the weight of this unprecedented catastrophe as her breathing became short and her pulse raced. Hope had to face the harsh truth that the very qualities that had once made her a powerful force in the world of Forrester creations were now the source of her greatest fear in that overwhelming moment of vulnerability, when the mask of composure finally fell and her true feelings were revealed. She knew that control was a delusion, a transient, brittle structure that could be destroyed by a single, terrible fact, and that the same strategic intellect that had planned her ascent was now betraying her. Therefore, Hope sat transfixed by the enormity of her situation, her thoughts a swirl of contradictory emotions, each one fighting for control in a battle that threatened to engulf her completely, while panic ran through her veins like a powerful toxin. Every heartbeat seemed endless in that state of complete chaos, every moment served as a reminder of the delicate balance between chaos and order, and as the storm of panic grew stronger, she realized that she had arrived at a turning point, where the choices she made over the course of the next few minutes could potentially decide not only the fate of her own soul but also the future of the entire Forrester family. As Hope struggled with the overwhelming reality of her circumstances, she realized that sometimes the greatest strength is not in maintaining an illusion of invincibility but in facing the storm head-on, no matter how terrifying the winds may be. It was a moment of raw, unfiltered vulnerability where the facade of confidence and control crumbled, revealing the fragile human spirit beneath. Even the most resilient people can be brought to their knees by the unpredictable, sometimes devastating forces of fate, and in the face of overwhelming adversity, the only way forward is to confront the chaos, embrace the pain, and begin the arduous journey toward healing, one trembling, uncertain step at a time. Hope's inner turmoil became a powerful testament to the enduring complexity of human emotion during that one, heartbreaking moment of panic, while the outside world continued its indifferent march on. The Bold and the Beautiful has long been a world of passion, intrigue, and emotional storytelling, but nothing has stirred up as much controversy and dismay among fans as the latest transformation of one of its most beloved characters, Hope. For decades, Hope was the embodiment of resilience and compassion, a character whose trials, heartbreaks, and victories resonated deeply with audiences who saw in her the very essence of overcoming adversity. Yet, in a radical departure from the character that fans had come to know and love, the new version of Hope has emerged as a polarizing figure, and spoiler after spoiler has revealed that nearly everyone, viewers, critics, and longtime fans alike, hates this reimagined persona. In this dramatic reinvention, Hope is no longer the gentle, empathetic soul who navigated the turbulent waters of the Forrester legacy with quiet strength. Instead, she has morphed into a cunning, cold, and manipulative strategist, a woman whose ambition to seize power and control has stripped away the warmth and vulnerability that once made her relatable. The transformation has been so jarring that it has ignited a firestorm of backlash on social media, with hashtags like #SayBoldHope and #NewHopeFail trending as loyal fans decry what they see as a betrayal of everything that once defined her. The new Hope is portrayed as someone who uses every tool at her disposal, not just charm, but a calculated, almost ruthless manipulation of those around her, to further her own agenda, often at the expense of the very relationships that once anchored her to the Forrester family. This shift is not merely cosmetic or superficial, it represents a fundamental change in the character's core, one that challenges the established narrative of growth and redemption that had been carefully cultivated over years of storytelling. The once tender and relatable Hope now engages in power plays that alienate her allies and provoke bitter confrontations with those who have long supported her, and every decision she makes appears to be driven by a singular, self-serving motive rather than a genuine desire to heal or help. Critics argue that this new version of Hope lacks the nuanced complexity of her previous incarnation, reducing her to a one-dimensional villain whose actions are driven solely by ambition, with no redeeming qualities to balance her darker tendencies. They lament the loss of the character's inherent empathy and the painstakingly built narrative of personal struggle that made her a beacon of hope for so many. Instead of evolving naturally, she seems to have been forcibly recast into a role that prioritizes shock value and dramatic twists over character integrity. This controversial makeover has left fans feeling betrayed, as if the essence of what made Hope a symbol of perseverance and heartfelt compassion has been sacrificed on the altar of ratings and sensationalism. Longtime viewers recall the early days when Hope's vulnerabilities and setbacks were portrayed with a delicate touch, a portrayal that allowed her to connect with audiences on a deeply emotional level, inspiring them with her ability to rise above adversity. Now, in stark contrast, her new storyline is replete with cold calculations and moral ambiguities that suggest she is willing to manipulate even those closest to her for her own gain. The metamorphosis has not only altered her interactions with the central figures of the Forrester dynasty but has also disrupted the delicate balance of power that has defined the intricate web of relationships within the show. Every whispered conversation and every secretive glance that once hinted at the potential for redemption and growth is now overshadowed by a palpable sense of foreboding and distrust. The betrayal felt by the fans is twofold. On one hand, there is the sorrow of losing the hope they once cherished, and on the other, there is the anger at what appears to be a reckless departure from a well-established character arc. Social media platforms and fan forums are abuzz with heated debates, with some viewers expressing a deep sense of loss while others call for a complete reversion to the old Hope, a version that, despite her flaws, had an authenticity that resonated with real human experiences of pain and recovery. The backlash has been so intense that some fans have even launched campaigns demanding that the showrunners reinstate the original characteristics of Hope, arguing that the new direction not only undermines the character's legacy but also threatens the overall narrative integrity of Bold and the Beautiful. Industry insiders speculate that the change may have been driven by a desire to inject fresh energy into the series or to shake up long-standing dynamics in an attempt to attract new viewers, but many argue that in the process, the show has alienated its core audience. The transformation of Hope raises fundamental questions about character evolution in long-running series. Should established characters remain true to the qualities that endeared them to fans, or is it acceptable, even necessary, to take dramatic risks that might redefine their identities? For the viewers of Bold and the Beautiful, the answer seems to lie firmly in the former. They cherish the Hope who was flawed yet ultimately redemptive, a character who, despite suffering immense personal losses, continued to embody the spirit of hope and resilience. The new Hope, in contrast, feels contrived and forced, as if she were molded solely to serve as a plot device in a broader narrative of betrayal and ambition. Every scene featuring her now exudes a sense of calculated coldness, stripping away the emotional depth that once allowed audiences to empathize with her struggles. In boardrooms, at lavish social events, and in intimate, emotionally charged exchanges with other characters, the new Hope projects an aura of detachment and self-interest that starkly contrasts with the genuine warmth of her previous iterations. Her interactions, once marked by compassion and understanding, are now laced with a tactical sharpness that leaves others reeling, unsure of her true intentions and whether any alliance with her is worth the potential cost. The ripple effects of this character overhaul extend beyond Hope herself. The shift has disrupted the intricate balance of relationships that fans have followed for years. Characters who once found common ground with Hope are now estranged by her newfound ruthlessness, and her recalibrated role has inadvertently cast a shadow over the dynamics of the entire Forrester clan. As alliances shift and old bonds fray, the emotional fabric of the show is being rewritten in real time, leaving fans to wonder if this dramatic change will ultimately lead to a richer, more complex narrative, or if it will erode the very foundations of what made Bold and the Beautiful such a beloved institution. In a world where every character's journey is interwoven with themes of love, loyalty, and betrayal, the loss of the authentic Hope is a blow that reverberates far beyond a single storyline. It is a reminder that characters, like the people who watch them, are more than just a collection of traits or a series of plot points. They are reflections of the human experience, with all its beauty and its pain. For many viewers, The New Hope represents a departure from this truth, a betrayal of the nuanced portrayal that once made her a symbol of resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. And so, as the controversy rages on both on-screen and off, the future of the character remains shrouded in uncertainty, a tantalizing cliffhanger that challenges the very notion of what it means to evolve in a long-running soap opera. Will the producers eventually recognize the misstep and attempt to redeem the character, or is this new, polarizing version of Hope destined to remain a sore spot in the legacy of Bold and the Beautiful? For now, the debate continues, fueled by passionate fan responses and relentless speculation on social media, as loyal viewers hold on to the hope that someday, the original, beloved qualities of Hope might once again shine through, reaffirming the timeless appeal of a character who, at her core, was always meant to inspire rather than alienate, to heal rather than hurt. The saga of Hope's transformation, with its highs and its lows, stands as a powerful reminder that in the ever-evolving world of Bold and the Beautiful, change is inevitable, but the heart of a character, when forged by genuine emotion and experience, remains irreplaceable, even amidst the most controversial twists of fate.